Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our symposiums. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hello, teacher.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to CamEd Business School, the only institute in Cambodia with quality recognition from the International Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, ACCA. In Cambodia, CamEd Business School is the leading institute of higher education in the fields of accounting and finance. CamEd provides a Bachelor of Accounting and Finance honors, training towards the professional ACCA and CAT qualifications, and internationally recognized diplomas in tax and law. Over 70% of the new hires of Big Four, PwC, KPMG, EY, and Deloitte are CamEd graduates. CamEd graduates are highly sought by leading banks and organizations, including the General Department of Taxation. Our vision is to develop a community of accounting and finance professionals performing on par with those in international financial centers, taking initiative as leaders and upholding ethical standards. Besides our great vision, we also have the mission to provide higher education with a focus on accounting and finance, leading to qualifications of international quality and recognition. CamEd strives to maintain a high-performing, diverse, and international faculty of lecturers, collecting and disseminating best practice and the latest developments in their respective fields. CamEd graduates comprise 70 to 90% of new recruits in entry-level audit and tax positions at the Big Four audit firms, PwC, KPMG, EY, and Deloitte. CamEd students were the regional champions in the KPMG Innovation Challenge, defeating teams from Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand. The CamEd team continued to the World Championships in Argentina. CamEd students won the Regional International Business Model Competition and were world quarter finalists at Google headquarters in California. The CamEd debate team were finalists at the JCI National Debate Championship and competed in the regionals in Osaka, Japan. Students study a curriculum fulfilling the requirements of the International Federation of Accountants and teaching international accounting and auditing standards, including IFRS, IFRS for SMEs, and ISAs. ACCA Platinum Quality Recognition from the UK, CFA Recognized Affiliate Program. CamEd encourages sports to develop teamwork, leadership skills, and the ability to work under pressure. The CamEd women's basketball team are the reigning the University Cup national champions. CamEd student clubs enhance student learning, provide opportunities for project management, leadership, and bring interaction with industry professionals. The CamEd clubs include an audit club, international business club, entrepreneur clubs, Chinese club, investment club, debate club, and the CamEd student government. CamEd graduates were recently awarded the prestigious Chevening Scholarship to study for master's degrees in the UK. CamEd graduates earn international master's degree, including from the University of Southern California. CamEd professors and lecturers are experts and experienced professionals in the fields of accounting and finance, and come from many countries including the USA, Cambodia, Australia, Singapore, Philippines, Nigeria, the United Kingdom, Slovakia, France, and the Netherlands. In 2018, CamEd became an affiliate member of the Harvard Microeconomics of Competitiveness Network. Moreover, CamEd professors and lecturers join international conferences and forums including at Harvard, the ACCA in the UK.
Okay, I think it is time now. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to invite Mr. Travis Mitchell, Executive Director of AmCham Cambodia, to give a welcome remark.
Thanks so much, Kanika. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Travis. I am the Executive Director at AmCham, the American Chamber of Commerce. So I'm happy to see you all here today for our first webinar. This is very exciting. Those of you who don't know me, I actually worked at the University of Cambodia for 7 years. So I'm very passionate about education. I see some of my former students are also on the call. Hello. So I just want to briefly say, what is AmCham? AmCham is a business association of 160 different businesses here in Cambodia. And we have some really big ones like Coca-Cola to a lot of small SMEs. But what we do are different types of events. Okay, we have different luncheons, we have different meetings, different webinars on topics like women in business, technology, finance, agriculture. So a big mix of everything. We also have 5 committees, and one of this is our education committee. So this is where we are today. I'm super happy to see you guys in this education committee meeting. So what I think is really interesting about AmCham is that it's supposed to be friendly, helpful, and supportive. So especially during COVID, times are really tough, and everyone in education is facing challenges. So this is a great chance for all of us to come together and to talk about some of the biggest issues. So that's why I think today's webinar is a really exciting time where we can learn from experts and also share some ideas. So I really want to say thank you for coming today. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Casey Barnett, who is the chair of our education committee. So again, thank you everyone for coming today. If you have any questions, please say hi to me or email me or message me, and it'd be my pleasure. So thanks so much, Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Travis, and for your meaningful opening remark. And we would like to invite Mr. Casey Barnett, AmCham Education Committee Chairman and the President of Cambodia Business School, to open. Yeah, thank you.
Excellencies, professors, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the AmCham Education Symposium on Best Practice in Online Primary and Secondary Education. One of the goals of the AmCham Education Committee is to share best practice in online and blended learning. And this symposium is an important way for us to do that. Our next event on November 25th will be on best practice in online higher education. And I invite everybody to join our next event as well. I would like to briefly give thanks to everybody who has made this event possible, especially the support of Mr. Travis Mitchell, Executive Director of AmCham Cambodia. Today's event manager, Dr. Kate Prammer, who is also presenting today on Teacher to Student Connections, Ms. Sokang Panchaniat, Academic Coordinator of Australian Centre for Education of ACE, who will be presenting today on online learning ecosystem, Ms. Ruth Abea Benyano, who is presenting on teacher to parent connections and engagement with younger students. And thanks to Ms. Kristen Doty, Master Teacher of Catalyst Learning Curricula, presenting today on student engagement and collaboration. Thank you very much for your time, sharing your time and expertise today. I would also briefly like to give thanks to our AmCham Education Committee members who are also involved in education, including thanks to Cambodia Business School, ACE, IDP, ISPP, Liger Leadership Academy, Asian Hope International School, the University of Arizona, Northbridge International School, Australian International School, Friends International, Caring for Cambodia, the American University of Phnom Penh, the Capacity Specialist, and Cambodian Children's Fund. And lastly, thanks to the support of our executive committee, including Ms. Tita Sok, our Education Committee Vice Chair, Mr. Sheldon Hutchinson, our Committee Vice Chair, and Mr. Gabriel Helmy, also our Vice Chair, and thanks to Mr. Cody Rogers, our Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Please enjoy today's event.
Thank you, Mr. Casey, for meaningful opening. So now I would like to Ms. Sok Heng. Sorry for earlier. Next, we would like to invite Mr. Sok Heng, engineer, to give the first presentation about the online learning ecosystem. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Kanika, Casey, and Travis, for the welcoming remark and for the introduction as well. Welcome to my workshop, everybody. Okay, allow me to share the screen for my presentation. So good afternoon once again. My name is Panchiniat Sokheng. I am an academic coordinator at Australian Centre for Education. And the topic for my workshop today is maximizing student engagement in a virtual learning environment through digital interactive materials and collaborative learning tool. So without further delay, I will go through the content of what I will be covering today with you. Okay, so I will talk a little bit about engagement in an online class in general. Then I will move on to the two most important points for the workshop, which are related to digital interactive materials and collaborative learning tools. Okay, let's talk about engagement in an online class. So pretty similar to the face-to-face or what we call physical classes where the students are present in the classroom. Engagement is one of the most important factors that lead to success in learning. And there are many different factors that could affect the level of engagement of the student when they are doing their class online. And two of those factors are the type of materials or work sheets that the teachers are using in the class, as well as the interaction and collaboration among students. So the more engaging and interactive the materials are, and the more collaborative the learning is, the better the engagement in class. So I will focus only on these two specific factors for this workshop. Okay, so let's move to the first factors, which is about the type of materials that the teacher uses in class. I have a question for everyone in the audience. So my question is, aside from using the textbook, what type of materials are you using in your online class? Let's say if you're not a teacher, you can just tell me what type of materials that you typically see in an online class. So I have provided some example here in the bracket. Well, it can be PDF file, Word document, Google Doc, Google Slide, Google Form, so on and so forth. So just list down what you have seen in your online class or what you have used yourself if you are a teacher teaching online. So we will do this through the link in Mentimeter. So I'll be sending the link to you through the chat box. So please type on, you can click on the link and then you can start typing your answers, and then I will review the answer all together on screen. So please click on the link in the chat box, everyone. I'll give you for about 2 minutes maybe, because this is not very difficult. So I am waiting for the answers. Some of you send me through the chat box, that's fine as well. We have Telegram group, we have PDF, we have Schoology, we have Google Docs. Okay. Google Classroom, Kahoot, Microsoft Teams, PDF file, Word doc, Google Slide, okay, Poll Everywhere. Wow, that's a lot of different things there. Okay, keep coming. Google Form, PDF file, and more. Okay, I can see that there are like a variety of different type of material that you are using, which is great. Let's keep our class more engaging and fun. Some of you mentioned Quizzy, that's nice. Word Ball, okay. Oh, Bamboozle, that's a type of game, very fun game as well. All right, live worksheet, very good, Mentimeters. Okay, thank you so much everyone for answering my question. So as you can see on my screen here, there are lots of different type of material that you are using. Some of them are very interactive, some of them are not. For example, like PDF and also Word document, it might be a little less interactive than those, and then the material, let's say like Google Slide or Google Form. So, yes. So for me, personally, I have used most of the things that you have mentioned in the chat box, as well as in the Mentimeters. Today, I will be introducing everyone to another type of interactive materials that you can use to spice up your online class, which is called digital interactive material. So let's learn what it is first, okay? So what is digital interactive materials? So digital interactive materials are basically the materials that enable us as a teachers to incorporate multimedia and gamification component to our worksheets to capture the student attentions and improve engagement in a way where your plain paper worksheet could never do. And I'll show you in a bit what it looked like. So this is the pictures right here. The lady in the pictures is using one of the digital interactive worksheets for her math class. So she doesn't have to print out the paper or anything. She just do it on her devices, and then the answer will be corrected automatically. It's very, very easy for self-studying as well. So on the internet, there are different platforms that you can actually use to generate or design your own digital interactive materials for your online classes. I will introduce you to one that are very popular, and a lot of the teachers at my school, including I myself, use it because first, it is very helpful, and then the second one is it is very, very user-friendly. So it is called Book Widgets. So please type in the chat box, yes, if you have heard of it before, or no, if you have not heard of it before. So I will be reading the chat box. Okay, oh, no. Okay, some of you say yes. A lot of no's, which is good because then I can introduce you to that. Okay, for those who say yes, you can help me answering the questions, okay? When our friends ask the question. Okay, thank you so much. So a lot of no, so I'm glad that there are lots of no, to be honest, so that I can get to talk more. Okay, all right, so now let me talk a little bit about Book Widget then. So what is it? Why is it useful? So Book Widget is actually a platform that allows teachers or curriculum developers to create a variety of interactive content. In the Book Widget website alone, there are more than 40 different templates that you can use to create any type of exercise. That doesn't only apply to language class, but it's also applied to the classes of other subjects as well. And I'll show you in a bit. So these are the type of exercise that are available on Book Widget. So if you want to make like a simple but interactive worksheet, you can aim for like the first section here in green. So we have flashcard, we have split worksheet, we have worksheet that you can create like multiple choice, drag and drop, and so on. You have timeline. If you want to use interactive whiteboard, you can as well. And then if you are like me and you like games in your class, then the second section is for you. It's all about educational game. And I use this section the most in my class because it's fun and it's very engaging. And if you want to incorporate multimedia, let's say pictures, videos, or audio, then the third section is for you. And the fourth section, I haven't been using it much myself because I'm not a math teacher, but if you are a math teacher, it's very helpful because it's gonna make your math lesson more fun and more engaging. And it's also allow you to embed like the third-party websites, or like if you want to do surveys, you can do it as well. So there are many things to explore. So we're gonna explore a little bit with one another. I wish I could give you like each type of exercise, but I couldn't because there are too many. So I have prepared two, okay? I have prepared two exercises, so two interactive exercises. I will send you the link so that you can have a go and play with it a little bit. So, but first, let me tell you what it looked like and how you're gonna do it. So this is the first one. This is for, young kids, the kid class, like primary class would be more suitable. So all you need to do, I'm going to send the link, you click on the link and then you will see this. So you need to choose the correct habitat for the animal that are given on the left-hand side, all right? And then after you're done choosing everything, you can click submit and then you will be able to see the correct answer. So that's one. And then the second exercise is this one. So I like using this a lot for the lead-in of my class. This one, the lesson is about volcanoes. So I want you to put the pieces of the puzzle together and form a picture of a volcano. So I am going to give you 5 minutes to do that, 2 exercises, 5 minutes. Let's see whether you are going to finish it within 5 minutes or not. And when you're done doing that, you can just, give me a hands up or a thumbs up or just say done in the chat box, just to let me know that you have finished. So let me just send you the link now. give me a minute. Okay, I will drop the link in the chat box, everyone, and you can click on that link and then play around with the exercise for 5 minutes. Your 5 minutes start now. Please also just type in yes or done in the chat box when you finish both of the exercise. Okay, done. They are awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, very fast. I'm gonna wait for 2 to 3 more minutes. Someone say done, but with a sad face. I'm not sure what happened there. Volcano done. Thank you, Craig. Okay, we have done, and then we have another done. Done both. Wow, Kim Hong, thank you. Okay, there's a lot of done. One last minute. Okay, one last minute. Let's see how many people could finish it. Done. Thank you, Casey. Okay. 30 seconds. Okay, thank you, Wongthida. She also finished it. Done, so much fun. Thank you. Completed. Thank you. And okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. I cannot see the pictures because of the internet problem. That's okay. I think maybe I can send over the slide to you later on if you want it, David. All right, thank you so much, everyone. I can see that a lot of people have finished the exercise. That's a good thing. Thank you so much. So my purpose is not to challenge your knowledge regarding this, but just to give you the opportunity to be able to experience what book widgets is like. Okay, and it's worked very well from my experience and also the experience of the teacher at my school. You know, student, especially younger student, they enjoy doing their homework as well as their in-class exercise through book widgets because it makes it more fun than just like, you know, PDF where they have to print and then they have to like just write it, which is a bit boring. So if you are using this type of exercise, it makes them like feel more engaged when they're learning. Okay, there are a lot more special things about book widgets and I'll show you what it is. So on top of providing a lot of interesting and engaging exercise template, it's also give you an auto grading function, which is very useful for both student and teachers. For students, they're able to check their own answers and that make them take ownership of their learning. So they do not have to wait for the teachers. They can do it by themselves, check the answers. And for the teachers, it saves us lots of time when it comes to marking. And it's also very convenient in terms of tracking and assessing student performance, as you can see here. So this is actually from one of my class. I can see like the average score of each question that I give to my students. I can also track my student performance individually so that I can identify who are stronger students, who are weaker students, so that I can support them accordingly. All right, so that is very convenient. And one more thing is that book widgets also allow integration to different learning management platforms. As you can see here, we have Google Classroom, we have Moodle, we have Microsoft Teams, Canvas, and Schoology. A lot of you mentioned about the LMS in the question, so it's going to be very useful if you want to try to use book widgets, because the integration would allow teachers to access book widget directly from the LMS platform, and all the score will be imported automatically to the gradebook. So let me show you one example of what it looked like. So my school used Google Classroom as our main LMS platform. So at our school, we integrate our book widgets with our Google Classroom. So for the teachers, when they go into their Google Classroom, they can click on create, and there will be like an icon for book widgets where they can access the website directly and assign the work for their students. And when the student do the exercise, just like what everyone did earlier, the score will be imported automatically to Google Classroom Gradebook. So it's very convenient for the teachers to keep track of the student score and so on. However, if you feel like you do not want to integrate book widget into your Google Classroom, or you might not use the learning management platform that I mentioned earlier, you can still use book widgets, but you can share the link directly, just like what I did in the chat box. So you can just, make a copy of the link after you finish creating the exercise, and then share it directly with your students. So students do not have to download an app or anything. They can just click on the link and then they complete the exercise. All right, so that's about book widgets. It's very interactive and very engaging from experience, and I've talked to many teachers and they all loved it. That's about the first part, the first main point of my presentation. So I move on a little bit to the second one, which is about collaborative learning tool. So using engaging or interactive materials alone might not allow you to boost the engagement of your class to the maximum level. So what you're gonna do about it then? So you have to bring collaborative element into your student. You gotta let your student work together, especially if they are studying online, because they're not able to see each other face to face. So collaboration can actually bring fun to the online classroom, because they still can work together, although they cannot see each other face to face, but they still are able to work with one another, to support one another. It also provides student opportunity for practice language if you are a language teacher like me, but also allow students to share knowledge and also everything that they have learned. They allow students to help one another, especially those who are stronger. They can help the weaker students. So all of these will help the engagement in your class. So there are many interactive tools that you can use to enable collaboration in your class. Some of the teachers may aim for like a classic collaborative tool. I call it classic because like a lot of teachers know it. They are part of Google Suite. We have Google Doc, Google Slide, and Jamboard. They are free, they are very accessible and easy to use. But the only thing about this that might make your younger student not really like it is that it's not looking very fun, because it's more suitable for adults or people who work. Okay, but if you are having like younger students, you might aim for something a bit more fun and a bit more interactive than this. So Kanika has touched base on this a little bit in her opening explanation to all the participants. So I'm going to add on to that. So I will talk about Padlet. Okay, so Kanika said that Padlet is used for discussions, like for example, the symposium, one of the other speaker will use Padlet to engage the audience. For me, and also for the teachers at my school, we use it as a way to allow students to collaborate. So we use like online, it is basically a bulletin board that you can ask your student to collaborate on. And then it's looking like this. And on top of, doing all the texting and also posting, students can do a lot more things like, posting GIF and also like sharing link to other websites. And they can also interact with one another through commenting and liking. So this is a very fun feature because it resembles the way that you use social media like Facebook and Instagram. So it's make your learning even more fun. Okay, I wish I could have time to share like how to use Padlet, but I'm aware that I'm running a bit out of time. So I'm gonna wrap it up so that I can take some questions. How you use it, you can just share the link directly, just like Kanika said, all right? And in wrapping up, I have introduced everyone to like two platforms today, Book Widgets and Padlet. So I hope you find them useful because I found it very useful for my online classes, and I hope you do for your online classes as well. So if you have any question, you can drop it in the chat box. I have about 1 more minute to go, or you can email me at acecambodia.org. You can find me in LinkedIn with my name as well. So we have one from teacher Michael. Is Book Widget useful for both young learner and adult? Yes, it is useful for both. I've taught both adults and young learners and also like children classes. They all you know, work pretty well with Book Widgets because we have different type of exercise. You can actually play around with the format and so on. Thank you, teacher Michael. And okay, someone asked me about the integration. For the integration, it's very simple. You can just, you know, you can just download like an extension. It takes you about a minute to your Chrome, and then you link the account to your Google Classroom, and it's done. And if you are interested in that, you can, in using Book Widget, you can head over to bookwidget.com. There are lots of tutorials in how to create the worksheet, as well as how to link your account or integrate it to your learning management platform. Yes, Bonawat, there are many tutorials on the website. Okay, thank you. As I can see, there are no more questions, and I think my time is up as well. So thank you so much, everybody, and thank you to the organizer and the committee as well. So if you have any question, you can email me later on. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Panchanian. Okay, so now I would like to invite our next presenter, Dr. Catherine Pramers, who will be presenting on the topic teacher to student connection. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to put in the link into the chat box the links for this specific presentation, and it has in it many links which will provide you a lot of resources which I got at the ISTE conference. In addition, I provided access to the LMS Moodle, to free online content which is used in training in America and is recognized internationally. So to be a part of the participatory part of my talk, getting access to those links would be very helpful for you. So because my Wi-Fi connection is not so strong, I have created a video which will keep me on time, and I'm going to share that with you now. Okay. And please let me know if there's any issues with sound or with the screen display. Live sessions with the teacher as a facilitator. My name is Dr. Catherine Promer, Director of the Cambodia STEM Excellence Pathway. The QR code on the screen will give you access to the presentation, which contains many links to best practices. During the presentation, I will provide opportunities for interactive learning if you get access to the presentation now. I hope today to share the work of internationally recognized educators in today's objectives. Ernest Gonzalez, EdTech and Design Coordinator at SAISD, Caitlin Tucker, the Physics Curriculum Leaders and Teachers, Bradford Hill and Matt McCullum, and the Portland Metro STEM Partnership in Tosha. So what are best practices for online and blended learning, which increases student engagement and support the teacher as a facilitator? How are these best practices realized for flipped learning, virtual station rotations, choice boards, and playlists? And what does it mean to facilitate learning with technology to support student achievement online? The standards for educators published by ISTE, the International Society for Technology and Education, state that teachers help students take ownership of their learning. Teachers manage the use of technology and student learning strategies, and teachers create learning opportunities that challenge students to use a design process and computational thinking to innovate and solve problems, and that teachers model and nurture creativity and creative expression to communicate ideas, knowledge, and connections. To make this a hands-on workshop, I'm providing free access to the OER Physics course on the Open Education Learning Management System, Moodle. There, you will find best practices in online learning. The same active learning strategies can be applied to any subject and grade. At this website, the same approach is used in all template courses and in the professional development workshops. So how do you access the physics site, which is a unit on waves? Use either the QR code or the URL. And then under Login, select the option to create a new account, pick a username and password, and then in your email, confirm, and then you can click Continue and you select Physics, and you have full access to all the active learning activities. What are best practices for blended and online learning? To offer rigorous learning experiences that lead to student achievement, we must ensure that learners can navigate through the course with ease, and that accessibility features are available to support all learners. As educators, one of our goals when creating content should be to design with accessibility to support all learners. These include text features to support learning, such as consistent headings and indentation to show a pathway, literacy support, such as immersive readers. All learning content contains clear and concise directions. Tech tools are aligned to the activities with guided supports. The resources are provided to students to support learning. That accommodations are provided where needed, such as extra time on assignments. And making our courses more accessible means that all students have the opportunity they need as they learn and develop. What are best practices for blended and online learning? In student-centered learning, teachers become the architect of learning experiences, sketching out a blueprint that will position the student to do the building or the heavy cognitive work of making meaning. Lessons are designed with students in mind. Lessons are aligned and objectives are visible. Students have the opportunity to use their learning to apply, to create and analyze, to think critically, and monitor their progress with real-time feedback from teachers. And students communicate and collaborate to create new understandings. Lesson designs include personalization with tools, resources, scaffolds, and pathways that support the learners to meet their individual needs. Lessons also provide multiple ways to demonstrate understanding, and rubrics can be used to assess learners and provide quality feedback. Students have agency. They are provided with the opportunity to participate in key decisions in their learning experience, and interactive lessons are used that transform learning from static worksheets into lessons that incorporate collaboration, assessment, gamification, and more, and allow for student voice and choice, with students having some control over pacing, time, place, and path. What are best practices for online activities that help students make meaning? Students can apply and create through presentations, infographics, and storybooks, through collaborative projects, or through project-based learning. Students can explain through asynchronous lessons, through teacher-created videos, through articles and online research, through teacher-led small group instruction, through educational apps, through virtual field trips. Students can share through screencasts, recorded presentations, through collaborative projects, through asynchronous online discussions. What is the impact of best practices? How do we measure the success of our designs? When we personalize, classrooms become student-centered, and we meet students where they are. We empower students to drive their own learning. When students connect and create, they build 21st century competencies. They prepare to succeed in an ever-evolving world. And when students have agency and share to an authentic audience, they become independent thinkers and problem solvers, and they feel responsible for their future. Next, we'll consider what are best practices in flipped learning. What is flipped learning? Before class at home, students interact with introductory content, not just watching videos, and this replaces most in-class direct instruction. Then, during virtual face-to-face time, for example on Zoom, students engage in active learning, in which students can apply, analyze, and create understanding.
This is a classroom. The teacher stands at the front, and the students watch and listen. You'll recognize this because it's probably how you were taught and how your parents were taught before you. But there are a lot of problems with this approach to teaching. You see, not all students learn at the same speed, so some get left behind. And while some students learn better by listening, others may learn better by doing. This means that teachers can't always do the best job they can, but there is another way. The flipped classroom addresses these problems and makes learning more personal. First, the teacher makes a video that delivers the content they'd usually teach in class. Then they share it online with students who can watch it before the next lesson. This leaves the teacher free to spend class time leading activities that help students apply the knowledge. Students can rewind and re-watch a video as many times as they like and come back to class with questions for the teacher. So keeping up with the class is no longer an issue. Students can access the video at any time using mobile devices, giving them the ability to learn more independently. Instead of sitting and listening, students can spend class time applying knowledge in more practical ways. And teachers are free to spend their time working with students and giving them individual support and attention. The flipped classroom model is already making a difference to students and teachers worldwide, so get involved. Discover more at flippedinstitute.org and become part of the movement.
What do flipped classroom lessons look like? In the pre-video activity, teachers generate interest in the topic and create some content for the video. This activity can happen in the classroom or online. It could present an unfamiliar problem or prompt to pique interest, and then ask students to generate questions about a topic or assess their prior knowledge. For the flipped and engage activity, teachers pair the video with an engagement activity to deepen understanding and provide teachers with a strategy for checking to ensure that students watch the video. In the post-video activity, after students have seen the video, students are encouraged to apply what they learned. This activity can act as a formative assessment strategy to gauge what students learned by watching the video and to identify gaps or misconceptions that need to be addressed. What is the impact of flipped learning? In the traditional classroom, more time is spent on remembering and understanding. With flipped learning, there is a flipped Bloom's taxonomy where in class, more time is available for higher level thinking, and at home, more time is available for applying knowledge. What are the best practices in virtual station rotations? What are the benefits? Virtual station rotations provide opportunities for small learning communities, for variation and engagement, and for personalization. Students have control over the time, place, path, and/or pace. Students are provided with meaningful choices. In the station rotation, teachers have time to work directly with small groups of students to provide feedback, and teachers can differentiate learning activities, scaffolds and supports, and the level of academic rigor and complexity in both the application and practice. Virtual station rotations can be classified as teacher-led, online stations, offline stations, and collaborative stations. In personalized online learning, students might engage with adaptive software, have a dynamic experience with multimedia. In a teacher-led small group instruction, this could include modeling, teacher-facilitated discussions with real-time feedback. In a collaborative station, they are dedicated to tactile, experiential, social learning and to encourage communication and collaboration among students for peer support. In offline learning, this could include practice and application, reading and writing, art projects, STEM projects, and experiments. So how do you plan a virtual station? The QR code here gives you access to a 9-station playlist on Waves that is also in the Moodle LMS. Please open the playlist and we will do a quick station rotation with choice and voice. If your birthday is January to April, choose between stations 1 to 3. If your birthday is May to August, choose between stations 4 to 6. If your birthday is September to December, choose between stations 7 to 9. Review the content and type in the chat something that you learned about hearing and waves. This will give you an indication of what a student would experience who did the full activity. So as you can see in the Waves playlist, the playlist is divided into the standard 5E sections: engage, explore, explain, and elaborate, which is to apply and create, share, and reflect, and extend their time or extend their learning. On this slide are links to many subject-specific playlists. Click on science, mathematics, reading and writing, history, and geography, and you will have access to many examples. So how can we design a station playlist? On this slide, you have access to a link to a template. And here you can see prompts to provide ideas for content for each of the different sections. I want to provide with you many station rotation ideas that are subject specific and include ideas for teacher-led stations, online stations, and offline stations. Here there's a link to access English station rotation ideas, science and math station rotation ideas, and history ideas. So what technology should we use for virtual stations? How does technology help? First, you are concerned with the structure and flow. This can be done with a playlist, or you can embed all of the information in the LMS. In addition, technology can help with the interactive lessons and also accessibility. So with the LMS, here Moodle, it can provide the learning objectives, written and recorded directions and resources. It can hold the interactive content. It can facilitate the online discussions and collaboration, collect formative assessment, track mastery and differentiate, facilitate peer review, balance in-person, virtual breakout sessions, and anytime asynchronous work and more. And as students work more independently and collaboratively, as with stations, the technology can provide the content structure and support that students need to be successful. There are excellent interactive lesson support with tech tools that can package and deliver interactive lessons for the explain sections. An excellent example is Pear Deck. If you click on the link, it will take you to a self-paced lesson, which has lots of interesting content and shows you how to implement Pear Deck. If you click on the link in the Google Slides, you will be taken to a Google document which creates for you a station rotation lesson template. And Kami is an online annotation tool with a variety of fun features. And if you click on the link, it will help you install that for free in your Google browser. I also want to share an interactive reading and research activity. Here, Kami is used for an asynchronous station that gets students to read in an interactive way. So let's take a look at a collaborative reading relay in which different groups of students have different tasks to complete. So if you click on the link to open the article, then if your month of your birthday is January to February, you would be the artist and you would draw. And if you're March to April, you would be a wordsmith. And if you're May to June, you would be a young leader, and so on. And this then allows students to have a very fun and interactive way to read and collaborate on an activity. So there are also tech tools for interactive learning and accessibility. For example, Screencastify, which helps you record a video to teach a concept with drawing and editing tools. And it's a great tool for recording original flipped videos. And Mote, you can add linguistic support to Google Slides by recording audio using this app. So there are also tech tools for accessibilities, which includes the Immersive Reader Chrome extension and also the iPad text-to-speech instruction. Finally, this is a Apply and Create Choice Board from SAISD EdTech. It's divided by learning style. It includes some simple project ideas, and each icon is linked to tutorials. In addition, the SAISD Essential Tech Tools Guide lets you explore favorite tools and project ideas for integrating technology in the classroom. Now what? So start small in 3 steps. Plan it out. Start with the lesson template and figure out the structure of your lesson and what types of station activities you will include. Then consider the structure. Decide on a platform to serve as the structure for your lesson. It could be the LMS, it could be Google, it could be a playlist. And then make decisions about accessibility. Pick one tool to practice with that makes your lessons more accessible. So thank you so much for your time in listening to this presentation. If you have any other questions, please feel free to contact me. And also I included at the end an About Us slide so that you can be aware of projects that I'm doing, and perhaps there's a space where we can do some sort of collaboration. Thank you. Okay, so thank you so much, and that gets us just about at time. But if you have any questions, I look forward to answering them. And you can send them offline because we need to stay on schedule. So thank you again.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Primers. And so now I would like to invite our next presenter for this symposium. So I would like to invite Mrs. Rose Abele Pananos to give the next presentation. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. good afternoon. And in the Philippines, it's already good evening. Can you see me?
Yeah.
I hope you can see me. My name is Ruth and I'm from the Philippines. I work as a director in Philippine Women's University right now. But I also teach sometimes online. That's why I dressed up like this so that you can see how I am doing it. So I hope you will learn a lot today from me. Thank you. Let me share my screen. Hi, to this afternoon, I'm going to talk to you about effective strategies to increase engagement with young children and with parents and guardians. So before I go to that, let me ask you some questions and you type in the comment box what the answer. Okay, is that okay? Can I see a thumbs up there? So for my first question, here it is. I am happiest when, as a teacher, I am happiest when any answer? Maybe Miss Kate and Kanika can help me with the answers because I cannot see the other part of my screen.
So they're saying that my teachers get it. I'm happiest when my students learn and understand, when my students have questions, seeing my students' improvement, and when my students are active. When all my students say yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And for the second question, here it is. So the opposite of happy is what? Anybody?
They're putting sad in.
Okay. So as a teacher, I'm sad when
most of my students are inactive, or I am boring my students. I'm sad when my students don't get it.
Okay. Thank you for those answers. So it's your lucky day. You don't have to be sad and lonely because today I'm going to teach you some tricks that I have been using and I hope it will help you. So for effective strategies to increase engagement with young children, here are some of my pointers or my tips. First, get your students' attention from the start, like this one. Can you see? What am I wearing? Maybe what lesson am I going to teach today? Any answers? It's very obvious.
About the letter F.
Yeah, that's correct. Or sometimes, here's what I do. Okay, sometimes I use this background, or sometimes I use my background and I put a lot of things at the back with regards to my lesson. So I use Bitmoji, I use so many things. And I would always say, welcome. So this is a classroom, or I would say, hi. Are you feeling okay? I'm here to help. So that's what I say to my students. So at first, they would see me wearing like this and they will say, Miss Ruth, what are you wearing? I'm just wearing a headband. And then, no, I know what our lesson is. That's the letter F. So at first, quickly, I can get their attention already. And sometimes, aside from this, I wear costumes. I wear costumes inside the classroom, and I also wear costumes on my online classroom. I sometimes wear, whenever I teach, I'm a preschool teacher, by the way. That's why I would be giving you some tips more on the little children, or maybe until primary. So if I would like to give a lesson about red, I would be wearing a red shirt. So what do you think my lesson, my color lesson today is? What am I wearing, everyone? So I'm wearing blue, that's correct. And we're gonna learn about the letter F. And sometimes I also wear a hat, and then I put in like this. I sometimes wear a hat, and then I put the letters there. So now it's gonna be letter T. So that's what I do. First is you catch the attention straight away. And then you can also use props. Inside my classroom, we have a puppet. I would ask my students to name the puppet. I would always use flashcards. And also online, I use the same. Every time I teach, I have stuffed toys here. And I make my students talk to the puppet or to the stuffed toy. And this is 626. I'm not Miss Ruth anymore. I am 626. So 626 will teach the children instead of Miss Ruth. So that's how I get their attention. Second, create an environment conducive to learning. So how do we do that? In the classroom, this is my classroom in the UAE. I use all corners of my classroom. So from the door to the front, and I also have, so here I put on the birthdays of my students. I have every day, I have color lesson. So that's color blue, number 3, letter P, and I put here our past lessons. And I would always have my sight words here. And here also, whenever I teach my kids, I would always say to them, what voice level are we going to use when we are talking? So we have here color-coded voice levels. So if it's loud, it's red. Normal is yellow. Soft is green. Blue is whisper. And then 0 means silence. When I tell them, okay, 0, when I say 0, they will automatically be quiet and be silent. So that's what I use. Also here, I create different centers. As you can see, I have tables over here. These are the different centers. This is the math center. This is understanding the world center. The other corner would be personal development. The other one is, there are so many centers that I put on in my classroom. And I also use the interactive television. That's in my school, but I don't know with you. So while teaching online, you can also put here a whiteboard marker, a whiteboard, so that you can write. So instead of just sitting here and having the lesson, you can stand and teach it like you're teaching in the classroom. So like what I said, you can put a background at your back here. In preschool, we always say, today is Monday, and then yesterday is, and we always ask for the weather. So that's what we do. Or you can put in your virtual background. Number 3, established rules and routines. So children, if they have routines, they will follow it. So this is an example of a routine of classroom rules. Here are the classroom rules inside my classroom. And for online, we have Zoom ground rules. So when you establish this one, children will follow. They know what to do. We have to direct them. Aside from the class rules, you must have a visual schedule at your back. You can put it here or in the classroom, of course, you have the corners. And when you teach them already about the time, you can include the timing. So here, usually in preschool, we have circle time, center, snack, group time, lunch, outside or play outside, nap time, art, and then centers again. And then before we go home, we have a story time. That's also similar in the online class. Actually, you can follow this one, but you have to make your activities very short, because staring at the television or the television, we use the interactive TV, or staring at your computer or laptop is kind of a bit boring for the children. So you have to create some routines that they can do. Number 4, show them that you care. So in the morning, just what I did a while ago, I asked you, how are you feeling? So here are some questions that you can ask your students. How are you feeling today? And you can add these emojis, and then they will choose. They will say happy, or I'm crying, I'm sad. And then you will create conversation right there and then. And then you will ask them, why are you sad? Why are you happy? Why are you excited? Are you excited about our lesson for today? And then they will say, yeah! And that's music to my ears. One moment. And then, if it was a Monday, it's a Monday, you ask them, how's your weekend? What did you do? Did you go to the cinema or did you go to the park? And then that will spark conversation among the students. Oh, Johnny, I went to the mall too. I didn't see you. Where did you go? So that's very, very nice for the students to talk. And then, here's my trick. In my classroom, I have tea time with Miss Ruth. I make sure that I talk to the children. Each child, I have a conversation with them. To be able to do that, we have a tea time with Miss Ruth. It means it's a one-on-one conversation with me while having tea, but not a real tea. It's just a play tea. And there, I would ask not only what they're feeling, I would give them some lessons that they need help with. For example, this child doesn't know how to write letter T yet. So I would be helping him, or he doesn't know how to count yet. So that's how I do it. During the tea time with Miss Ruth. Number 5, make students actively involved. So how are we going to do this? First, gamify your classroom. Inside my classroom, every day, we always play. So here, this is my assessment part. During this time, our lesson is about transportation. So as you can see, I just put all the pictures on the floor, and then we have 2 groups. Sometimes I make it boys and girls sometimes, like what Kate has said. For example, all birthdays who start with all birthdays, all students who has a birthday in April. So we would categorize our students like that. So we have different categorization. Sometimes we say those who have short hairs will be on this side, and with the long hair, you go to this side. So that's how we do it in our classroom. For online, you can go to there are different resources, one of which is www.abcyac.com. So here, there are different grade levels. There are so many games that you can choose from. So this is my favorite. I'm just showing you what works for me. Maybe it will work for you. But there are so many resources out there in Google. Just Google it and it's there. Next is you have to keep them moving. Children like music and movement. So every time we have a lesson, I would always put in some music. If there's no music for that, I usually create one based on the other music that they know already, and then I would create. So these are our favorite playlists. The Hello Song, Baby Shark, Phonics Song, Let's Get Fit and Count to 100s, that's for my math. And then our favorite for Read Aloud is Brown Bear, What Do You See? So here, I have the links on this. Anybody who knows this one, I'm sure everybody knows Baby Shark. I would like us to stand up and dance, but I think not everyone is opening a camera. So I'll just show you the song a little bit. So this is my Hello Song, and then I'll show you a little bit of the action, even though I'm sitting down here. Everybody, even if I cannot see you, please clap with me. Hello, 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 how are you? Hello, 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 how are you? I'm good. I'm great. I'm wonderful. I'm good. I'm great. I'm wonderful. Again, clap your hands, everybody. Hello, 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 how are you? Hello, 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 how are you? I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm not so good. Not so good. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm not so good. Clap your hands, everybody. Hello, 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 how are you? 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 Good job, everyone. One moment. I cannot go to the next. I think I'm gonna. So one more. Maybe I'll just show you for my. Here. For my alphabet, this is my favorite song. A is for apple, apple. B is for boo. That one. C is for cat, cat. D is for dog, E is for elephant. Okay. And then I'll go to other one. So here's another one. For my maths, I like this one. So here is our exercise. We count
100 every day. Keep your mind and body in shape. Let's get fit, have some fun. Count to 100
by one.
Get ready to exercise.
I will only put
Count.
until
Stretch your
2.
arms.
Everybody stretch your arms.
1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
9, 10. Stretch your legs.
So here,
11, 12, 13, 14.
so that's for my maths. And here is my brown bear. Brown bear, what do you see? I see a red bird looking at me. Red. Then the children will say red.
What do you see?
I see a yellow duck looking at me. Yellow.
Yellow duck, what do you see? I see a blue horse looking at me. Blue.
So that's it for my. You can see this in YouTube. So.
Blue horse, what do you?
And then for the last one, I know that you know this very well.
Ruth, I want to let you know we have 2 more minutes.
We have 2 more minutes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just move up and then. So last one is sustain their motivation. So how do you do that? You give them stickers, and you can also have something like what's that? Like something like this, and then with a superstar, so you can grade them like that. And then, so that's for. Can I go quickly for the strategies for parents, or should I stop from there?
Yes, please, quickly.
Okay. For this effective strategies for parents to increase engagement with parents and guardians, here's what you can do. First is you communicate with parents via email, phone call, newsletter, or online apps. So you can use everything, Viber, chat, WeChat, and then you can also create a newsletter that you can send via email, or you can give it to them in hard copy. And for me, this is what I use, the Class Dojo. You can search this online, and this is a great way to communicate with parents.
What makes an amazing classroom? Is it having shiny new desks? Is it that fearless classroom pet in the corner?
And then next is in the Class Dojo, you can send in your communication, like for example, this pajama day. And then after that, or while you are having the pajama day, you can also send your photos quickly to the parents so that they can see what you're doing. And then prepare homeworks that are fun and easy to complete. Here, our homeworks are very easy. Just write 3 times your name, or sort your laundry by color, or count the steps in your house, count the number of forks, count the number of doors, and give me something in your house that starts with the letter F, for example. And then also give clear instructions and expectations to parents. This is an example. You can let them, you can send them something to do at home, like this one. It's called the Shape Schoolhouse, but you have to be clear what you want to do. For example, here, I'm sending home a Shape Schoolhouse. Show how to glue the pieces down and then color it. I suggest that you ask what shape each object is, or you talk to your children, what do you do in school? What do you enjoy doing? Something like that. And then here, encourage the parents to create a classroom setup at home. It means when they're there to study, not to play. They can play because they can learn by playing, but they have to be at least learning something inside the classroom, inside your home classroom. This is a very, very typical classroom, home classroom in our country. So it's available everywhere. And then also like this, before the class starts, the children should be prepared as well. So like here, the boy has his own things on hand, even this little girl. It means they are ready to learn. If the parents will not do this, so children will not be encouraged to learn. And then lastly, share information and resources. You can have a lot of resources in Jumpstart, Pinterest. You can provide them the resources that you use so that they can use it at home as well. So with that, I'm done for young children and parents. I hope you learn a lot from me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mrs. Rose, for your creative and informative presentation. So now I would like to invite our last presenter, Dr. Kristen, to cover on the topic engagement with middle and secondary students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being here tonight, and Ruth Banyano has done an excellent job of introducing that I'm going to be doing today as well. What we're looking at tonight is strategies for engaging students, just as Ruth was talking before, and we'll be looking at engaging students using methods that are interactive, so that we have 100% engagement in many of the same styles that Ruth was talking about for the younger grades. I'll be talking about for the older grades. And the older grades, what we're looking at is a high level of collaboration, which allows us to move to a higher level of critical thinking. And so in doing that, I have a couple of short videos I want to share that I'm going to talk about afterwards. But I just wanted to use a recorded version to be able to show you many things at one time. Some key features that I'm going to share with you today are the use of free apps that have shared, editable, real-time space for students to collaborate. And this is an example of a slide deck for Google Suite, which has slides, sheets, spreadsheets, documents, Jamboards, and other ways of sharing space. If you go to Google, you can find these different slide decks, and this one is set up, you can see, as a template that I've prepared ahead of time, and every student has a different slide. I can see all the slides for my class by changing the view down here, so I can watch students working and in their private space, as well as working together as a group. I can enlarge this so that we're working together, but I'm able to bring it into a larger or smaller magnification. And I want to share it with my students. I would share it with opening the link to everyone, or I can open the link simply by bringing that restriction to only my class. And notice that I can put viewer or commenter or editor. Know that if you open the link on any of these to be anyone with a link, then you get anonymous participation. And I do not prefer that. I want my students to have marked participation so that I know who's in the classroom at a time. This is an example of a graph loading activity where every student puts their own graph onto the document. You can see that every student has filled that space, and I can come in now and have my students comment on each other's graphs or do a secondary activity. For instance, this same template, after the graphs are loaded, I ask the students to find a graph that is not theirs and write an analysis of what the graph says to them. When they look at each other's graph, what is it that they understand? And then that actually flows right into another activity that again is interdependent. So these students are writing on a different person's graph, and then finally in the last activity, they give comments on how to improve the graph. And every person goes in and comments on other people's graphs so that they have peer critiques and review. This helps everybody bring the level of their work up to a higher level with knowledge that's based inside the classroom. And the students are interdependent. We need every student to participate in order to get the best understanding. And if you do use shared documents, one of the nice things about shared documents is you can go under File and look at the version history under See Version History, and you can see exactly which students edited which parts of every comment and which parts of every graph, because that is in the historical analysis of the document. You could even make a copy of this version or rename this version, and everything that is written by the student is in their own color. So that helps you track any changes, but then also the comments allow you to track changes by student name. Some key features that I'm going to share with you today are I apologize. That was not the one I wanted to share. One of the easiest things you can do is to ask students to bring something to class for show and tell. It's not truly show and tell, but it's something that they're going to manipulate, something that they have to bring to know that they've come to class prepared. In this particular example, I'm going to show you a pendulum experiment where students are collecting data. Every student comes to class with some sort of device that can swing freely, and they're using materials straight from their house. There's nothing sophisticated about it. They just simply need something that they can count. So each person brings whatever they're doing, and one of the things that it allows you to do is to say, camera's on. I want to see what you have, and everyone else is going to be having their camera on as well so that we can collect our data together. And that camera's on tells you they're ready, they're present, and they're including themselves in the class as a working member. I have here a shared spreadsheet. This is just a Google Suite document, and my students are going to collect data as they do their pendulum count. So they're swinging their pendulum for a minute. I'm orchestrating that as a teacher, and they're going to input their data into the shared spreadsheet. So it's very active. I'm asking at all times that my students are participating, and that means I can tell if they're engaged. Not only are they participating and engaged, and I have a way of measuring that from the outside, but I also have an ability to tell if my students are understanding what they're doing. So the next step I do with my students is, besides collecting data, they have to begin to make observations about their data. So I want to have an engagement that starts at the beginning of the class, and my students are there. Even though they're remote, I can tell that they're present. But then I'm going to ask them to take the data they've collected and do the critical thinking. So now they're asked to make observations, and those observations are going to be input in the same spreadsheet where their data have been placed. Each student is going across their name and using this shared space that has an individual area for their work, but it also has a shared area for their peers so that they're able to see what each person is doing. And I'm going to zoom out here a little bit so it can be more obvious that the students are inputting their data independently, and then they put their observations in independently. But together, they collectively are making an analysis that can be shared and built upon. So what I want to do with my students with the shared spaces is I want them to be able to see what each other are doing so that there's a modeling of what is the correct behavior. And you have that pressure to participate more fully to the highest level, depending on what types of information or what's the highest, most high quality response that's seen among peers. And then if a student is not sure where to get started, the first person who takes that risk can initiate that and lead the others to begin their participation. So we still see that peer pressure that we would see if the students were sitting next to each other in a real classroom. They'd be able to feel the presence of one another. On a shared document, such as a spreadsheet or a slide, they can feel each other's presence and they feel that sense of being part of a whole. In data collection, it's easy to see that if not everyone is participating, we do not have a full load of data. We have missing pieces. And in fact, our tabulations might not actually calculate well. And so we have a sense of interdependence. In other subject areas, you can create interdependence by creating a different task where every person's input screams to the other students that you are a part of this whole and we need you. So show up on time, participate fully, and be engaged. In this particular activity, the task is that they're going to color code the similar results. These are factors that may affect the number of oscillations of a pendulum. And students have already put in their individual ideas, but now they're starting to read each other's ideas and gather similar ideas so that they can analyze what are some commonalities between their responses. So we want to know that the individual work can be done and then the collective work can be done. So we see a large degree of peer tutoring in a passive way. They're able to see each other's work. And then we're also able to see what is completed when everyone is present and everyone is participating at a highest level. We're able to come in and see what those individual ideas are, some observations, what progress we've made as a team, and we want to have an end result that feels successful. So the contagion of participating and investing in that way is something that we can build straight into the lesson. You can see with this particular setup, the shared spreadsheet is really directs the flow of the class. First, we collected data, and then that just scrolling to the right, we were able to make observations based on those data. And then scrolling to the right further, we started to look for independent variables that are impacting this particular phenomenon. This type of sharing allows students to understand the flow of the class. They can see the flow of the class themselves. So you have essentially an agenda laid out by the way that you're structuring your class and sharing your documents, but it also shows that investment together. A second example I want to give you is a non-science example where we have something that we're working on as a collaborative writing experience. In this case, every student has a Jamboard. You can see that there are multiple Jamboards prepared up here on the top where we have different types of materials on each slide, but we have the same setup on each slide. So we're starting from the same starting place. Everyone has an individual space on which to work. So again, we have a separate but shared situation. And Jamboards are a free app that you can add on to the Google platform, or you can use them as an app on your computer. They're open source so that they're accessible to any teacher. And you can just open the sharing so that all the students can edit them. This is set up so that the first pass, the student goes ahead with their own ideas, preparing a specific, measurable, assignable, realistic, time-bound goal. They're setting goals in this case. They just grab a sticky note and they input their goal. Maybe they are going to be prepared class on time. Maybe that's their goal. And so they can save those sticky notes and arrange them themselves. And after they make one pass on their own sheet, they might have a number of different goals that they've set up. The second thing that I would do with my students in this case is after they've done the initial individual writing, I would have another pair of students go and check on the goals for a student and possibly give them some strategies. And so again, they could do that with some sticky notes, or they could do it with a text box of bringing in a text box, adding it, and writing in strategies for this student. That way they're working on each other's individual area instead of it being just Janet's Jamboard. The other students are going to give them feedback and help them with those goals by giving them some strategic ideas. In the third pass, I rearranged the students into different pairs, and I asked them to give feedback that is critical feedback, where they ask questions for clarification and they ask to demand a higher level of accountability. And so those are some different ways you might ask your students to interact with one another and in a collaborative manner that requires engagement, requires participation, and lets you know minute to minute, are they in class? Are they adding this to their Jamboard? Did they put a comment? Are they putting their data into the spreadsheet? You want to be every couple of minutes require some sort of active participation by those students so that you know they're there, you know they're engaged, and that their critical thinking is reported in a very visual manner to make thinking and learning documented throughout the class. I hope that's helpful. So in both of those examples, my goal was to allow you to think about different ways that you could be engaging your students, very much like Ruth was talking, where we want to have our students fully engaged at all times, and we want to find ways to tell if they're participating, to tell if they understand something, to tell in an auditory manner whether or not we have made that connection with them, and allowed them to make a connection with each other. So if you have any questions, I wanted to leave time for questions about any of those techniques, or if there's something that you would want to ask about using further techniques, I would invite you to ask any questions about how you might work with the high school level students or middle school level students in terms of bringing in more interaction. I know we were running a little bit late, and so I'm going to hand it back over to the team that's orchestrating. If you have any questions, please use my contact information for any other advice.
I think anyone who have any question, please feel free to ask. Okay. Also, thank you, Dr. Kristen, for your insightful presentation. So now I would like to invite Ms. Dr. Bremer to have the closing remark of the event today. Thank you very much.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So what a wonderful event, and we've all learned so much, and I would like you to look at the agenda, and on the agenda you have everybody's contact information, and I would hope that you would contact them. And in addition, I highly recommend Kristen Doty's workshops because she really does train people all across the United States. And so that's why she was our special invited guest, because of her level of knowledge and ability to really move professional development forward. And so I want to also thank Casey Barrett and Travis Mitchell, and have Casey now say a few words in closing.
Dr. Bremer, thank you very much for managing and organizing today's symposium. We are all here today due to your time, your efforts in gathering the wonderful presenters today. Ruth, thank you very much for your presentation. We learned so much from you about teaching online to young learners. And Panchaniat, thank you very much for your interactive presentation, showing us very interactively how to use book widgets, as well as, and we appreciate the use of Mentimeter. And Kristen, thank you very much for joining us from the United States. It must be late at night over there where you are. Thank you very much for your time and expertise. We have learned so much about how to engage students individually and also in groups. And everybody here today, thank you very much for your participation. Mr. Travis Mitchell, thank you very much for your leadership of AmCham. And everybody, you are all invited to our next event, November 25th, which is Best Practice in Online Higher Education. And here in Cambodia, we're going into the Cambodian holiday Pshumban. So I would like to Chunpo, Patepo Tang Boon Praka, Ayu Panat, Sokap Polek Kumbai, Clean Clear Lai, Som Akon. And everybody, have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week. Thank you very much for joining this amazing event.
Oh, thank you everyone for your time and contributions to the symposium today. Okay.